normally it's associated with steps that are chasing us or somebody chasing us. And when we worry, we foresee a future that is negative, and normally, or most of the time, think on the times that you're being worried, it normally doesn't happen as bad as we thought. However, caring for our families, caring for our business, caring for the environment, caring for many other things that we do every day, it's a different situation. When you care, you act today for the things that might or might not come, so sometimes you minimize or even eliminate those negative outcomes. What I want to talk to you about today, in terms of fuel, you will be saying, what does that have to do anything with caring? Everything. This morning, we've been hearing about personnel, we've been hearing about the environment, we've been hearing about cost, we've been hearing about many of the complication situations that happen in the maritime world. So when you think about that caring, we need to work on sustainable fleet performance. I heard for probably the fifth time, just 10 days ago I was in Finland, totally different market for ferries and working with LNG, and sometimes still with some marine fuel, which is different to what we face on offshore supply vessels. It is the same aspect, fleet performance. And we could talk about fleet performance, and today in our world, still with offshore supply vessels working with diesel fuel, which has emissions, just like LNG does, by the way, it's just a different type of emission. We need to ensure that that fuel, it is appropriately consumed, and that our crew has the capability of expanding beyond their own expertise into something that they can use in favor. So those challenges that we have today, they need to be addressed. We need to care. One main aspect that happens in many regions in the world where there's a high risk, because believe it or not, if you were not aware, pirates still exist. If any of you happen to be one time coming to Houston and want to visit our facility, I can show you one of our first systems 20 years ago that was shot with AK-47 machine guns by pirates because they couldn't take ownership illegally of the fuel for that particular customer. So it's still happening, but sometimes protecting the fuel, it is not only about theft. Sometimes it is just the way that we act as human beings. When we worry, we take some actions that are preventing that we run out of fuel, that we have a little extra, that we protect ourselves. So it's just certain behaviors. But we need precision and we need accuracy in order to save that valuable fuel, which is associated as well with emissions. If we burn less fuel, it's less emissions. So we were hearing this morning as well the same aspect, right? If you burn less fuel, you're helping already with decarbonization. You're already doing something and caring. Not only that, when you do that, you reduce that cost, which eventually goes as well to the vessel. Because some things that I worked for a vessel owner before. I've been 35 years in the energy sector. I was speaking to a kind lady a moment ago, and when I say oil and gas, it's seen in a different scenario. So I will say energy. But in my experience, just recently, for the past almost 10 years in the maritime world, I just see essentially the same issue. When you do those savings, not only you are securing your business and being sustainable for your business, but the other thing that you're doing nowadays, and we heard as well this morning by the Vice President of ADNOC Logistics and Services, ESG. And sometimes we forget that ESG is way more complex than what we think today. I was sharing with you that trip to Finland, and one of the worries from one of the CEOs was 250 pages of the ESG report. And sometimes there's no total clarity from IMO, and now they have the European Commission, and all of that is going. Now, we're talking about those vessels above 5,000 tons of dead weight. For less than that, which is the majority of the vessels that we operate in the offshore sector, there's not a clarity on that. We're working very closely with IMO and with the EAU in order to try and regulate that so we can categorize the vessels as well. So for the environment, we're talking already about reducing emissions, and you will say, why with the social governance that is important? It is important because besides the environmental part, as you are seeing the figures of CO2 that has been not emitted or not generated through operating our systems, the social part comes as well for the crews. We put a lot of pressure on the crew to perform and to do their job in the best way. And sometimes we forget that they're human beings like any of us. They have families, they have stress, they have responsibilities. They're on board 28 days, 14 days, 42 days, I think, is the maximum that a vessel is allowed for someone to be there. And they're so concentrated on their work, and they're doing many things. If we give them the tools, they're gonna perform better, and that is gonna help in big time. In high-risk areas, we have noticed that magically, the moment that our system is installed, all of a sudden there's at least 30% reduction on fuel consumption. What happens with that, and it's not only the fuel consumption, it's the quality of the fuel, it is that there's an accurate measurement on doing that. So if we give that, then it's the social aspect, but the G, right? When you provide protocols, when you provide certain rules, but you provide the tools to comply, you make it easier on your business to do that. You trace your KPIs. You were thinking, whose KPIs? Not Fueltrax. I don't set the KPIs. The KPIs are set by the user. My direct customer is the vessel owner, but also I have a responsibility for the charter, which is normally the one that provides the fuel. Therefore, both parties need to have a benefit of achieving their objectives. What I can tell you, and I'm gonna pause for a moment, I'm gonna let you watch a video. That video speaks way better than me, so you're gonna realize why Fueltrax has the only real-time, end-to-end, self-contained, and secure active management system.
Fueltrax, the only real-time, end-to-end, secure maritime electronic fuel management system. Fueltrax is a completely self-contained, reliable system that assures measurement and data accuracy, provides optimization in real time, and actively guards against risk to your operations. With Fueltrax on board, you are secured by direct and accurate fuel bunkering measurements from proprietary sensors installed across the vessel, direct measurement of fuel consumption by each engine and generator. Our self-monitoring, closed-loop, tamper-proof, alarm-protected, and completely incorruptible system provides alerts on any system abnormalities. Direct and live communication with your captains at the bridge, and recommendations to optimize fuel efficiency and vessel performance. Our best speed and best economy optimization tools instantly provide the ideal settings for each type of voyage and situation, minimizing fuel spend, reducing engine wear, and helping achieve emissions reduction goals. Vessel data is transmitted every 15 minutes with accurate geolocation, independent of the vessel's GPS and communication system, to ensure your vessel is always on course. Secure two-way communication anywhere in the world via our dedicated Iridium satellite. Monitor operations and make decisions in real time based on accurate data. All accessed securely via a dedicated cloud with FuelNet for power analytics and reporting capabilities. Get 24/7 support from our operations center with remote system diagnostics and support capabilities, and the option for active fleet management services.
Well, I hope you like the video. As I mentioned, it explains better what I could do, an explanation. What I can tell you is that our system is uptime, at least 99. We like putting 99, but we put the plus in there. It's very difficult that the system is down. There's a reason for that. And I'm sorry, sometimes I apologize, and people, why apologize? Because I get really passionate about what I'm representing today. My job as director of strategy is traveling around the world, listening to our clients, and making sure that I represent well Fueltrax. But what excites me about this is it's been designed by former NASA engineers and flight controllers, some maritime industry people, of course, and former US Navy officers as well, which is telling you how many times you hear that, oh, I'll send you a technician to the space station. You don't do that. You work that remotely, and you communicate two ways with your sensors and make sure that everything is there. You try to make sure that is at least, if you cannot achieve 100%, because there's no perfection, right? It's only excellence, that you don't jeopardize the lives of those individuals that are over there. So that's what we've been doing. So we are working on every continent and in every ocean. We've been doing over 1,000 installations in a period of the year since the system was conceived, about 20 years ago. So obviously we're monitoring engines as well. So it's not only the bunkering, it's the consumption on each engine. And because of the system being a mass flow meter, we have density, flow rate, temperature. And it's really interesting what happens, because many times we just think about who's providing the fuel. As I worked before with a vessel owner, right, is a tendency to think, I don't pay for the fuel. The fuel is provided by ADNOC, by Aramco, by Petrobras, by Petronas. Why do I care? Well, nowadays you do care. But not only that, the health of your engines is monitored. We had an example of a vessel owner, and they allowed us to share this. It's Tidewater, and they did a special analysis or a business case about how the fuel optimization, the use optimization of the engines would help them. And in 3 months, they saved $250,000 by reducing their maintenance on the engines and also reducing lubricant consumption and also the filters. So we need to work with our customers and understanding that. So talking about fuel, this is what we have experienced in terms of numbers. It's millions of liters. When you multiply that times money, it's several amounts of dollars or the currency that you want to know. But not only that, it is what we were talking about, emissions. And when you save emissions, I like these equivalents really much. So 64,000 vehicles that are fossil fueled is as if you would remove them from the streets. So, and we know that we enjoy a powerful engine and driving our cars, but we need to be conscious that, it's burning fuel and it's generating. So the equivalence on that for the offshore vessels, it is really important. It is very important as well to realize the return of investment. Because many times we think, okay, but how's it going to cost me and how am I going to return? What I like telling the people that I meet often is, it is up to you how much benefit you use for the system, right? If the system at the moment is passive, it's not going to do the work for you if you don't log in, if you don't check your charts, if you don't check your own KPIs, if you don't monitor the system, if you don't talk to your crews, if your crews is not incentivized, you're not going to have a return on the investment. But when you do that, you can achieve it. That's why there's a gap. Now, let's talk in focus about the Arabian Gulf. What has happened is that we are already installing over 100 vessels to date in the Arabian Gulf. That means that we're monitoring, if you consider 4 engines average, although it's a little bit more with the generators. And also recently, also for the FIFI system, we've been asked for monitoring as well the fuel consumption. We're on more on that. You're talking about the equivalent of removing 4,669 vehicles from the roads by all the fuel, the emissions that have been reduced during these couple of years only, 23, 2024, and the Gulf region. And when you talk about number of liters, obviously becomes important when you transport that in money. And the bunkering, talking about how much fuel is being monitored, you can see it there. All we do is, what you are seeing on the screen, it's our Vessel Operations Center in Houston. And when I mentioned to you that it was by former NASA engineers, it's true. These guys, some of them, they were just flight controllers before, so they're used to this type of environment. We are building an operations center in Dammam very soon, right? It's all good. We're planning one in Qatar as well, and obviously we're hoping that we can do that as well here in the Emirates. Not because it's needed for us to operate in remotely manner, as I mentioned to you, because of the way of the design. It is just to give the presence and the importance to our customers so they can actually, if they want, which it happens very often, sit and see day to day, distract from the day to the operation, and come and monitor firsthand. Sometimes that helps. Now, before I run out of time, I just want to mention to you something recent. We have also a portable system that is been, because at the beginning, if you saw the title, we're talking about ports as well. But also, not all ports. Sometimes we have engines running everywhere in the middle of the desert, right, that they need to monitor as well. Well, we have the system that is called Expedition, where you're seeing on the screen, it is a system that it weighs 80 pounds, or 40 kilos, so easily carried by 2 people. And it's being tested with the US Navy. We're gonna be installing 2,000 units for their use over there. They use it for helicopters, jet fueling, making sure that is the right amounts and the right spots everywhere where they installed. This system, it's self-powered, so you don't need access to power. Not only that, it sends the same information by satellite, so you have the same access everywhere on your mobile or anywhere else. It's got a screen over there where you take a QR code, so the operator in there can double have the information in there. It's the same support that we have remotely from our operations center, but also on the accounts that every of our individuals do. Where can we work? Obviously in port operations for the helicopter fueling, and this remote circumstance as well with tankers. So this is a proven off-grid system that can help. It's mobile, it's lightweight, it's secure, and it's proven. So we're going full blast with this system, and at the moment again, there's 2 versions. The green one that you saw is for military purposes, but we have a blue version, we call it like that, which is the commercial aspect of it. The features are just slightly different simply because of the way that our customers are requiring it. So this is what I wanted to share with you. Fueltrax is the market's first leading, most widely used and only proven EFMS. We are installed with many of the largest corporations in the world. These are just a few that I wanted to mention to you, and we're approved on each one of them. And again, it includes vessel owners and the charterers. So please, if you scan the QR code, you can go to our site. We have a booth here, and I'm here available for anything that you would like to discuss. And with that, I thank you for your kind attention.